Everything kind of is under control, so to speak, as we know it, but they're still kind of checking the area for flare-ups. There is police tape all around just kind of closing off this area until further notice. It turns out that a third of those fatalities were due to people not buckling up. Severe weather is sweeping across parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. This is a tornado caught on video by a storm chaser. Looking at the Grand Junction Police Department's Facebook page, it's clear that many people were concerned about the timing of when that Amber Alert was sent out. They're using all types of adaptive equipment, such as this sit-ski that I'm sitting on right now. I had the chance to meet an inspiring man named Michael Chamberlain, who was born with a disability. It's starting at 10 a.m. and is set to last for 17 minutes in remembrance of the 17 lives that were lost in the Parkland, Florida shooting. Tilly is actually a very big deal. She even has her own business card. Those with AAA do expect summer gas prices to be just as high as they are now, but they won't increase as quickly. The road is closed off behind me. I am at the scene of the crime. I'm gonna step out of the way to give you kind of a closer look of what's going on. Oh, it's my baby Cleo, even though you wrote Chloe.
I didn't write Chloe, I meant to write Cleo. What I write? I can't spell. So.
It's okay. That's Cleopatra. That's my baby. Although he did not start the fire intentionally, all it took was one small mistake that led to a much bigger problem. Down by the river lives a man who goes by the name Marlo. And while his home changes depending on the day,
keeps my mood at the level I want, more hopeful and happier.
That's just the way he likes it.
Had the desired effect.
10 years ago, Marlo made the decision to live a nomadic lifestyle.
There's less stuff and less consumption, and you can see by my clothing, everything gets worn till I can't wear it anymore, because that's the ethical thing to do.
When he isn't playing his music, Marlo can be found walking his dog Flicks, reading by the river, or working on his latest novel. Many transients would describe it as a carefree life.
Things like house ownership, marriages, careers, those can be impediments to people finding their way in this life.
But one night on Skipper Island, that carefree life got the best of him.
I wasn't fully paying attention. I was kind of in a daydream, and the ground cover was very flammable. It was more flammable than I thought it would be.
Marlo had been camping illegally on Skipper Island for 2 days, although he didn't realize it at the time.
We thought it was okay.
But on his third day, he made a decision that would lead to some serious consequences.
To take a bathroom break, and made the call to burn the toilet paper.
Realizing the fire was now out of control, Marlo called 911.
I'm sure I was very panicky, and I was kind of out of my head. I was extremely anxious, and they probably weren't quite sure what I would do next.
He's been living this way for 10 years, outdoors, and he's very strict about fires.
Despite what happened, his friend Daniel Suelo says this was something totally out of character for Marlo.
We all felt like this was ironic that this happened.
Suelo says he feels partially responsible, as he was the one who led him to Skipper Island in the first place.
I came here, when I first came to Fruita, I explored around, and I went to Skipper Island, and I was all excited about it.
And while it's obvious that Marlo lives a simple life, he also lives an honest one.
People want an explanation. They want to know. They just want to know how it started and who's responsible.
So while his future remains uncertain,
I expect to keep living this way, barring accidents, until I'm in my 70s.
He's certain that he won't make this mistake again as he continues living his life day by day. Now, those with the Mesa County Sheriff's Office say they will be pressing charges. However, those details are still under investigation. First on the Western Slope, I'm Katerina Chrysofis, KREX 5 News. It may just look like your average boxing class. But while many may take on fighting as an extracurricular activity, this group is fighting for a greater purpose.
Humility, perseverance, and patience are 3 things that I focus on every single morning.
3 things that have been a struggle for Charlie Farrell ever since he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 5 years ago.
Everything that just used to be a natural motion is no longer a natural motion. I have to stop and think before I can do.
The disease is a degenerative movement disorder which can cause deterioration of motor skills, balance, speech, and sensory function.
First year you just kind of give up, which I did, sat on the couch the whole time.
It wasn't until him and his wife Jan opened up their own boxing gym here on the Western Slope that things started to turn around.
Bottom leg if you want to.
Rock Steady Boxing is another support group that, man, you're a fighter when you're here for an hour and a half.
The class focuses on improving every aspect that the disease impacts.
Works on balance, works on speed, works on agility.
And while it can be physically challenging,
Hips high.
it's a challenge that this group is up for every single day.
Fighting back, pushing back, staying in shape. I hope to delay the process so that if I have another 10 or 20 years to live, it's a better 20 years.
So while it may be easy to just give up,
You have to get out of your comfort zone, and that's when it starts doing good.
Farrell and his team will keep on fighting, one punch at a time. Meet Tilly. On the surface, Tilly looks like any normal dog. She sits, fetches, and even opens doors.
Good girl.
And she's definitely not camera shy. But among all these tricks, she has one that may be the most important of all.
Facility dog is what she's termed.
But she's not just any facility dog.
My thought was to help kids calm down, be able to tell their story.
Thanks to Victims Assistance Coordinator Kathy Raley, Tilly was brought to the Mesa County District Attorney's Office 2 years ago with the intention of helping children who have been victims of sexual abuse.
That is tough for anybody, let alone to be 7, 8, 9, 10.
A story that, although may be hard to tell, is made easier through the help of one furry companion.
Can't tell you how many times I've seen children just kind of wrap themselves around Tilly and they're able to talk about the events that have happened in their lives. It's pretty remarkable to see.
When Tilly isn't at the district attorney's office, she can be found at the Western Slope Center for Children.
What do you call this part? Either to just meet with the family, meet with the child, and sometimes she's actually in the interview with us when we conduct the forensic interview.
And while Tilly may work on the clock, she's helping even when the kids aren't around.
There are days where she's even more beneficial for us employees, all of us.
So even though getting her may have taken some convincing,
I think she has met everyone's expectations.
She's just an amazing tool.
and it's clear that Tilly is here to stay.
She stuck with me.